Fey redirects here. For other uses, see Fey, disambiguation. A fairy, also Fey, fairfolk, or fairy, is a type of mythical being or legendary creature found in the folklore of multiple European cultures, including Celtic, Slavic, Germanic, English, and French folklore, a form of spirit, often described as metaphysical, supernatural, or preternatural. Myths and stories about fairies do not have a single origin, but are rather a collection of folk beliefs from disparate sources. Various folk theories about the origins of fairies include casting them as either demoted angels or demons in a Christian tradition, as deities in pagan belief systems, as spirits of the dead, as prehistoric precursors to humans, or as spirits of nature. The label of fairy has at times applied only to specific magical creatures with human appearance, magical powers, and a penchant for trickery. At other times it has been used to describe any magical creature, such as goblins and gnomes. Fairy has at times been used as an adjective, with a meaning equivalent to enchanted or magical. It is also used as a name for the place these beings come from, the land of fairy. Citation needed. A recurring motif of legends about fairies is the need to ward off fairies using protective charms. Common examples of such charms include church bells, wearing clothing inside out, four-leaf clover, and food. Fairies were also sometimes thought to haunt specific locations, and to lead travelers astray using will-o'-the-wisps. Before the advent of modern medicine, fairies were often blamed for sickness, particularly tuberculosis, and birth deformities. In addition to their folkloric origins, fairies were a common feature of Renaissance literature and Romantic art, and were especially popular in the United Kingdom during the Victorian and Edwardian eras. The Celtic revival also saw fairies established as a canonical part of Celtic cultural heritage. The English fairy derives from the early modern English fairy, meaning realm of the fays. Fairy, in turn, derives from the Old French form fiery, a derivation from fi, from Vulgar Latin fata, the fates, with the abstract noun suffix iri. In Old French romance, a fée or fée was a woman skilled in magic, and who knew the power and virtue of words, of stones, and of herbs. 3. Fairy was used to represent, an illusion or enchantment, the land of the fays, collectively the inhabitants thereof, an individual such as a fairy knight. 3. Fée became modern English fay, while fiery became fairy, but this spelling almost exclusively refers to one individual, the same meaning as fay. In the sense of land where fairies dwell, archaic spellings fairy and fairy are still in use. Latinate fay is not related the Germanic fay, from Old English fay, meaning fated to die. 4. Yet, this unrelated Germanic word fay may have been influenced by Old French fay or fairy, as the meaning had shifted slightly to fated from the earlier doomed or accursed. 5. Various folklore traditions refer to fairies euphemistically as wee folk, good folk, people of peace, fair folk, Welsh, Tylwych teg, etc. Early modern fairies does not derive from a single origin, the term is a conflation of disparate elements from folk belief sources, influenced by literature and speculation. In folklore of Ireland, the mythic Aes or people of the fairy hills, have come to a modern meaning somewhat inclusive of fairies. The Scandinavian elves also served as an influence. Folklorists and mythologists have variously depicted fairies as, the unworthy dead, the children of Eve, a kind of demon, a species independent of humans, an older race of humans, and fallen angels. 19. The folkloristic or mythological elements combine Celtic, Germanic, and Greco-Roman elements. Folklorists have suggested that fairies arose from various earlier beliefs, which lost currency with the advent of Christianity. 20. These disparate explanations are not necessarily incompatible, as fairies may be traced to multiple sources.